Welcome to Snacks Weekly on Data Science. This podcast is all about making data science and machine learning knowledge accessible and less intimidating. Today, we are going to talk about experimentation. This topic is based on a tech blog with the title The Science of Price Experiments in the Amazon Store, written by the scientist team in Amazon. You can find the blog link in this episode's description. Throughout this episode, we will dissect the topic from both business and data science angles. Now let's dive in. On the business side, let's take a look at the problem to be solved. Amazon is one of the largest e-commerce companies in the world. Since its founding in 1994, Amazon has grown from an online bookstore to a vast marketplace that sells millions of products across numerous categories. A key driver of Amazon's success has been its strategic approach to pricing. The prices of products in the Amazon store reflect a range of factors, such as demand, seasonality, and general economic trends. Pricing policies typically involve formulas that take such factors into account, and newer pricing policies usually leverage advanced approaches, like machine learning models. In order to test those new pricing policies and improve the competitiveness of Amazon, the team needs to conduct a range of online A/B testing experiments to evaluate how effective are those new pricing policies. This is a critical way for the company to remain competitive, drive sales, and maximize profitability. Running such pricing experiment is different from standard user-side experimentation. In a standard user-side A/B testing, the users are randomly split into control and treatment groups. The control group sees the price under a previous pricing policy, and the treatment group sees the price under a new pricing policy. However, this exercise is prohibited because two different users could be seeing different prices for the same product at the same time, and this is considered a price discrimination. Since this is a key constraint for Amazon to be non-discriminative in pricing, the experimentation unit can only be applied on the product side. That means a set of products will be priced at a previous pricing policy, and another set of the products will be priced at a new pricing policy. This setting satisfies the need for non-discriminatory pricing. However, because the number of products is much smaller than the user traffic, this product randomization usually has higher variance and lower experimentation power. This is a reason why the team pursued developing advanced design and estimators, trying to improve the experimentation performance. Now that we've understood the business problem to solve, let's dive into the data science side to see what could be a good solution. First, let's look at the types of pricing experiments available in Amazon. There are generally two types of experimentations. One is called time-bound experiment, and the other type is trigger-based experiment. In a time-bound experiment, each product will be treated throughout the entire experimentation period. Consider one example where one pricing policy might round up the price to the nearest integer, while the other pricing policy round up the price to be 1 cent lower than the integer. For example, $6.99. Half of the products are randomly assigned to a control group, and the rest are assigned to the treatment group. This experiment can run for a period of time, let's say 2 weeks, and then the results of how the two pricing algorithms performed are analyzed. This is an example of the time-bound experiment and how it can be carried out. The second type of experiment is a trigger-based experiment. This only considers a product to be part of the experimentation analysis only after a trigger event occurs. For example, for a pricing policy that is responsive to competitor promotions, this policy would only be triggered when a competitor promotion is detected for that product. After that happened, then those products are considered being part of the control or treatment group in the experiment. Both the time-bounded experiment and the trigger-based experiment are available at Amazon for their specific product pricing needs. To improve the precision and power of these two types of experimentations, the team developed different approaches. For the time-bound experiments, they applied the switchback experimentation design. Switchback means when a treatment varies across products and time during the experimentation. This treatment will be turned on or off multiple times for each product. This is beneficial because it exposes more products to the treatment and increases the variation of when the treatment is applied to each product. One of the examples of the switchback design is called random days, where each product day is randomly assigned to either the treatment or control group. And the team shows that such a design can shrink the standard error by around 60%, which is pretty significant. While the random day approach is a good experiment design, there is one caveat around that part. There may be a carryover effect on pricing. So what is carryover effects? Let's take this example. If a product was priced more aggressively or at a lower price in the past week, it could impact customers' perception and affect the following week's period product sale. So this is one example of how the carryover effects from a previous week's pricing is impacting the next week's performance. To address such carryover effect, the team introduced a blackout period at the beginning of the first and second halves of the experiment. For example, if one product was considered part of the treatment group between week 1 to 3 and later switched back into the control group during week 4 to 6, 3 weeks for each, the experiment analysis would exclude week 1 and week 4 to avoid those carryover effects. This experiment design can shrink standard deviation overall by about 40 to 50%. This is less effective than the random day approach, but this one has a benefit of avoiding potential carryover effects. And this is considered a reasonable trade-off between the experimentation power and the bias. This above random day experiments design is an improvement for the time-bound experiments. However, it could not be applied to trigger-based experiments. So the team developed a new estimator to evaluate the effectiveness of trigger-based experiments. The intuition behind this new estimator is following. It is like a difference in difference structure. First, the team uses time series data to identify the first difference of each product. Second, they match similar products across the treatment and control group to take the difference of similar products' first difference. There are many details involved in operationalizing such an estimator, including activities like detrending the data, filtering out outlier products, and then resampling the data to estimate the distribution of outcomes so that this can provide an error-bound estimation. Once these efforts are done, the estimator can be used to evaluate how effective the treatment pricing policy is. Now we have finished talking about the two improvements the team made. Along the way, they pointed out one important effect that product randomization experiments should consider: the spillover effect. The spillover effect describes the fact that in the presence of substitutable or complementary products in a pricing setting, the treatment can affect the controlled observations and bias the estimated treatment effect. For example, assume there are two products from the same chair store, a white chair and a very similar gray chair. Let's assume their weekly sale was 10 chairs each, so 10 white chairs sold in 1 week and 10 gray chairs sold in 1 week. Because those two chairs or those two chair products are usually viewed and considered by customers together as substitutes to each other, if the pricing of the white chair is slightly lower than the gray chair, let's say just $1 lower, there may be a much bigger sale happening on the white chair than the gray chair. Let's say with this $1 discount on a white chair, it leads to a 15 white chair sale and a 6 gray chair sale in the following week. If directly comparing this treatment and the control group, the treatment get a $1 discount. One will see that the white chair has almost 3x better sales than the gray chair, meaning that the treatment group is 3x better than the control group. However, the actual benefits of this $1 discount, if you sum the chairs number up, 15 white chair plus 6 gray chair is 21 chairs. So it is only one more chair sold than before there is no $1 discount. The reason of this overestimating of the treatment effect is because those two chairs are substitutable, so that the treatment effect is overestimated. This is one intuitive way to see how the treatment benefit spills over to the control group, and the comparative view caused the actual benefits of the treatment to be biased higher. To address this spillover effect, the team developed a method to measure the effect magnitude and introduced a solution called clustered constraint randomization. With this approach, they can ensure the products considered very similar by customers are always in the same group, either treatment group or control group. In this way, it could address the spillover effect reasonably. Now we discussed both the business problem and technical solution. Let's wrap it up. In this episode, we discussed how the science team at Amazon designs pricing experiments to improve experimentation power. We talked about the effects of carrying over and spillover, as well as the solutions the team developed to overcome those challenges. If you like the content of this episode, please subscribe to the channel, give me a 5-star review, and leave a comment. Your feedback is very appreciated, and I'll see you next week.